今日咧，我約見咗喺我哋區嘅 MP Dr Neil Shastri-Hurst， 同佢傾下 early settlement 對 BNO visa holders 有咩影響，希望大家唔好錯過啦。Hello everyone. Today I'm very happy that Dr Neil is sitting with me, and he is the MP of Solihull West and Stirling. And his name is Dr Neil Shastri-Hurst. Hi, Dr Neil. Nice
Lovely
to
to
meet
see you again.
Yeah, this is the second time we have the interview. Last time we had the interview in August, and it was posted in our channel. So I will post the link in the description so that everyone can watch it again. Thank you so much. And by the way, I would like to say that thank you to represent the Hong Kong people, to say thanks to you, because you have a very wonderful speech in the Parliament in September. And that video also posted in Dr. Neil's Facebook. I will post a link in the description. So everyone, go to his Facebook, say hi, give him a like and support, and so that you can know more about what Dr. Neil's doing for the community. So thank you so much. Your speech is wonderful because you say that the change of the rule of the games in the midway is not a very good idea. It's not fair enough. Yeah, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's about having fairness in the system. It's about a moral obligation, and it's about our historic ties. And you know more than anyone else how important those historic ties between the Hong Kong community and the British community have been over years. And we had an agreement that we were going to look after you, and we made that agreement with you, and you worked under that framework. If you change the rules partway through the game, that, in my view, is an abdication of our moral responsibility to the Hong Kong community, and it's just not fair.
Thank you so much for your understanding and your support. We really appreciate you. And before we start our interview, I'd like to give you a little bit of my background. Actually, I was born and raised in Hong Kong. Before 1997, all of you know that Hong Kong is actually a British colony. And so I was raised under the system and the culture strongly shaped by the United Kingdom. And at my early young age, I have already developed 4 core values. It's democracy, freedom, fairness, and compassion. I believe those values are Hong Kong people's core values as well. But I think those values are also deeply rooted in the British community. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, absolutely. They're shared values, aren't they? They are. They're the values that tie us together. And I think particularly those around democracy and freedom, about the importance of having a free society, having freedom of speech, not feeling as though you're going to be oppressed because you express your views, whether they are out of kilter with the current political regime or not. And those are fundamental values of a well-functioning society, and they're values that were shared with the British community and the Hong Kong community.
Yeah, those core values actually stays with me in my whole life and made me who I became now, and it tells me how to make the decisions and how to see the world. So that's one of the reasons why we came back to the UK. This is my second home. And so do you think it's based on the historical reason or background of Hong Kong? That's why Britain gave the Hong Kong people to come in 2021. Do you think this is the main reason?
Well, I think it's a really important reason. We have a very long history, the relationship between these isles and Hong Kong. That history goes, as I say, over hundreds of years, decades. And the shared value structure that brings us together as not just individual nations, but as a wider community, that golden thread that runs through it, is so important. And I think it's our history, it's our values, and it's the moral imperative of the oppressive regime that we are seeing from Beijing amongst the Hong Kong community that meant it was absolutely it was absolutely right that we created a pathway for BNO visa holders to come to the UK, to make it their home, to contribute to our society, as you all have done, and to be real net assets for Britain. I'm always struck by how involved you are in our wider community, the engagement that you do, the voluntary work. It is just extraordinary, and that's a brilliant example of how a community from elsewhere can come to the UK, integrate, and play a really meaningful role.
So do you think BNO visa is different from other skilled workers and other kind of visa?
Yeah, it is very clearly a different pathway, and it's a carve-out that we've created within the system because of the very specific reasons we've already discussed about our historic relationship between Hong Kong and the UK, but also the significant oppression that we're seeing from China towards the Hong Kong community. And therefore, I think it is right to treat that differently to the wider immigration rules. Clearly, there are issues around the total number of immigration into this country, and that's something that the government, and I would support them in doing so, is seeking to control. But I do think when it comes to the BNO community, it is a very different set of circumstances, and therefore a different set of rules should be applicable.
Yeah, but on 20th of November, Home Secretary Savannah Mahmood, she announced a new settlement pathway called fairer pathway to settlement, also called earned settlement. Do you think it should apply to the BNO visas? Because after she announced that new policy changes, many Hong Kong people in the UK were quite worried about their future, and especially those who have struggling how to settle and rebuild their lives here.
I'm really sympathetic, and I understand the concern that it causes, and when there are changes to any rules, it leads to a huge amount of anxiety for those who are potentially caught by those changes. As I've said previously, I think this is around, we need to look at the wider set of rules around immigration in this country. I think that's the right thing for any government to do. But I do think there are certain groups where carve-outs need to be made, and that's where the consultation process is so important to making sure we're protecting those individuals who have specific circumstances like BNO visa holders. And I think there's a fundamentally just argument about not changing the rules partway through the game. I've spoken about that before in Parliament. I think we spoke about it last time we met. And it's so important for people to have trust and confidence in the system that they don't feel as though the rug's been pulled underneath them midway through that process. And let's also come back to that fundamental argument that there is this historic bond between our two nations, and there is a moral obligation that comes with that.
Thank you so much for your understanding. 大家好，我想同大家分享一個好消息。Dr Neil 一直好關心我哋香港人，佢都知道大家最近對新移民政策有好多疑問同埋擔心，所以我哋特別安排咗2026年1月16號星期五中午12點到1點一個同佢面對面傾偈嘅機會。到時大家可以直接同佢反映意見，或者問翻你哋最關心嘅問題。地點呢就會係 Solihull 嘅 B90， 名額真係唔多。如果你哋有興趣，就快啲 WhatsApp 揾我報名啦。希望到時見到大家一齊為我哋香港人發聲。喺呢度咧，我呼籲各位香港人咧，真係唔好吝嗇少少時間，一齊上網咧係回答佢哋嘅 consultation 啦，做翻一個 survey 嘅。如果你有機會嘅話，最好就可以約見埋 MP 表達你嘅意見啦。各位同行，如果你都有機會嘅話咧，記得都幫手約見 MP 表達我哋嘅訴求啦。